Hey guys, how's everyone doing? Welcome back to Harry's Highlights. On this video, we're going to talk about the book As a Man Thinketh. So this is all about the power of thoughts and what effect they have on our life. See, we are where we are because of our thoughts. So anything that's ever happened in life was based on a decision. Those decisions started in someone's mind, which originally started out as a thought. So when you can understand that, you can then look at things a little bit deeply and then regain control of everything in your life. Because when you start to embrace that everything is based on thought, any situation you look at, you can think of it in a positive way or a negative way. When you can start to take that on board, you can then start to take ownership of everything in your life and understand that you have control over where things go. See, if you're born poor, it's not your fault. But if you die poor, that is your fault. Because you have the power to be able to control your circumstances around you. See, how many people end up in what would be some might consider a really, really bad circumstance? Yet their mind is in such a positive mental state that they don't see it that way. They come out of that circumstance far, far better than when they first went into it. That's because their power of thought, because they looked at things in a different way, decided they were going to think in a positive manner, and then moved in that direction. See, all suffering in life is the effect of wrong thought. Any decisions you made poorly will normally end up in some form of suffering to some degree. All decisions made positively will end up in some form of joy or pleasure in some way. So understanding that at the end of the day, it's always down to you and your thoughts, the power of your mind, you can then take comfort in knowing that how much control you actually have. See, your mind is like a garden. A lot of people that have a garden that looks nice is because they've looked after it. They're proud of it. They're happy to show it off. People with positive thoughts are the same. They're happy to share their thoughts and things like that and talk about their thoughts because their thoughts aren't negative or dark or sad in any way. They're things they want to share with other people. They're going to bring more joy. Just when you show your garden proudly to other people, here's all the effort I put into it and look at it. There's no weeds. There's nothing negative in this garden at all. Your mind is the same. When you look at your mind, you start to think just like, wow, there's always so much negativity and things that are just hindering me and that also bring others, especially when I speak about it out loud. Your mind is full of weeds. So for you to have a more positive mindset, you need to start cultivating your mind by planting useful seeds that are going to project you or propel you in the right direction. Because as we said before, that is how you're going to move away from pain and suffering. Because all wrong thought is the effect of poor decisions or poor thoughts. See, a person is made or unmade by themselves. See, you decide on whether you decide to go forward or backwards. Based on your thoughts, whether you can talk about yourself in a positive manner and talk about all the great things and celebrate your strengths. Or you could focus on all your weaknesses. Have yourself be crushed underneath your own thought and negative things that you've been saying to yourself. But when you understand that you're in control of your thought in everything that you do, you decide like what happens. A great example here, your mind is so powerful that your body is a servant to it. You decide completely what your body does. The way that I'm speaking, the way that my hands are moving right now is because I thought it and I told my body to do it. That's how powerful your mind is. It controls your entire world. So anything you look at, you can decide to look at it in a positive or negative manner. They say that the only difference between those that become successful and wealthy, those that have achieved things in life, is all because they looked at things differently. Great example of something. There was once this billionaire, right? There's this one point. He was $9 billion in debt. That means that if he made $9 billion, he would be back at zero. Then, after that, he would have to make money on top of that to get back to where he was, which he did. Now, he could have fallen into despair. There's people that have, that fall into a few $1,000s worth of debt and are ready to, do terrible things. This person was $9 billion in debt, probably more debt than any of us will ever have in our entire lives. But because of a positive mental attitude, because of the way he controlled his thoughts, he was determined to overcome that obstacle, see it as an opportunity to prove the power of positive thoughts, the power of a positive mental attitude, the power and control that you truly have in your life. And he not only made back that $9 billion to get back to zero, he made billions of dollars again to return to become a second-time billionaire. Just to prove to everybody that doubted him that thoughts are in your control. That everything that you decide to do is you're deciding to do it, regardless of your circumstance. How many people that fall into a great examples like prisoners of war? The ones that came out of it and came out fighting and swinging were the ones that had that positive mental attitude, that knew that this too shall pass. The ones that fell into despair, the ones that fell into negativity, they're the ones that normally didn't make it. In any sort of situations or rescue situations where somebody's stuck out at sea for days on end, you know what keeps them going? Their thoughts. There's no one else there but them, but they control their thoughts in a positive way to make sure they kept pushing forward. And you can do the exact same thing. You need to understand that all thoughts, form eventually become habits. Habits eventually become circumstances. If you constantly think of yourself as poor, unsuccessful, and never going to get anywhere, that will become your habit, which will eventually form your circumstance. That person that I spoke about before, who was $9 billion in debt, understood that all the other people, there was homeless people that literally had more money than him. He could have fallen into despair, but he decided to look at things with a positive mental attitude, control his thoughts, and propel himself forward. And you can do the exact same. So you need to look at things as, try new things. Your greatest strength may emerge from places you have never considered. And again, that is down to a power of thought and not being held back by fear, which is another way that you look at things. See, looking at things with positivity and understanding that no matter what comes your way, you can choose how you're going to respond and react to it. How you respond and react to it is based on your thoughts. If your thoughts are positive, you'll choose to respond and react in a positive way. If your thoughts are negative, you'll choose to respond and react in a negative way. So now that you have more of that understanding, that information that lets you know just how controlled you are of your situation, your life, your thoughts, your habits, your circumstances, you now have the power to be able to take a different path. That's if you're not already or doing that already. See, looking at things in that way, looking at things with that belief that any situation that comes your way, you decide on how it's going to be handled. Just because something might be coming at you doesn't always mean you're a victim of it. You can choose to decide to fight it with negativity or, overcome it with positivity. See, we always talk about things that opportunities versus obstacles. The difference in how somebody looks at that is purely their thought. A negative person will look at it as there's this huge obstacle I can't overcome. A positive person will look at it, here's a great opportunity for me to get better. How many people get into situations that you'd think that they would break a lesser person? It's not necessarily that person's lesser. It's just that they weren't as in control of their thoughts. Maybe they didn't have the information that you now have. Maybe they looked at things with the wrong thinking. And as we said before, that all pain and suffering is the effect or result of wrong thought. Just as all pleasure and joy is the effect or result of positive thought. So when you can start to look at things as that I am in control, and you learn to try new things and understand that maybe that I haven't reached my full potential. Start speaking to yourself with positivity and start speaking to yourself in a way that is going to help you propel yourself. Think of yourself the things you tell yourself plant the seeds in your mind. And you think about it in this situation. If you had a child, would you speak to them in the same way that you speak to yourself? If the answer is no, then maybe you should try speaking to yourself in a different way. In a way that you speak to a child that you want to see the best in them. You want to see them reach their full potential. That's how you should be speaking to yourself. Because you mold the child's thoughts just as you mold your own. And sometimes we miss that lesson. We miss that, what I call parenting yourself. That opportunity to be able to look at a situation and go, if I had a child here in the same situation, I would tell them to be positive. Think that this too shall pass. And understand that you fell off the bike. Yes, you're in pain. But if you get up and ride again, you will get better at this. And if you apply that same situation to you, you might have just lost your job. You might be in a bad situation. Something might have happened. And you can look at it as an obstacle. And look at it as this is the thing that will defeat me. Or you can change your thoughts to positive and see it as, this is the thing that I will overcome. This is the thing that will make me. This will prove that I am more than the things that I've been saying I was before. And start to introduce this positivity into your life. Now, to quickly summarize, I talked about that, how we are where we are purely because of our thoughts. Nobody put us here. It was based on our decisions. If you are born poor, it's not your fault, but it is if you die poor. You understand that you have an entire lifetime to make the right choices, positive choices, and with that you can then work towards wealth and success and happiness, or you can work towards despair, sadness, and crushing defeat. See, and remember, understand always that your mind is like a garden. If you start cultivating your mind by planting useful seeds, you'll have useful thoughts, which will produce useful habits and produce a circumstance that is useful to you, achieving your goals, dreams, and successes that you want. Now understand though that a person is always made or unmade by themselves. You don't have to listen to somebody that says something negative to you, but you do have to listen to the negative things that you say. Just as you have to listen to the positive things you say. You are made or unmade by yourself. You decide on what comes in or goes out. Now, the body is a servant of the mind. So as all of your thoughts are directed towards your body, you are in control of what they do, whether they react positively or they react negatively. You're in full control of that one. And understand that try new things, because your greatest strength may have emerged from places that you have never considered. But the only way to do it is to have the right thought process in a positive manner that you're going to try new things. Now, we'll be making a lot more of these videos for your training series to help you with your personal development goals. But that's all for now. Until next time, leave a comment below on what you like the most, and I look forward to sharing more with you in the next episode of Harry's Highlights.